The moral of the story is everyone wants to make everything worse for some reason.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Amanda. You're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about airline travel, or the future of airline travel. At least that's what it seems like they're trying to make us believe, is that this is the future of airline travel. This is not going to happen, okay? At the time we're recording this, it looks like no actual airlines have bought these seats. We're going to discuss them because I am someone that flies a lot. And so I have feelings about this every time something like this gets discussed. This video itself is from 2018. This is from Colin Rugg on Twitter. New standing airplane seats, which can increase passenger capacity by 20%, may be unveiled in 2026, according to the Daily Mail. Maybe. The seats force passengers to sit up higher so airlines can place the seats closer together. The Skyrider 2.0 seat also weighs 50% less, meaning the airplanes can also save on fuel costs. Skyrider 2.0 opens the traveling experience to a wider passenger market, creating also a useful space for the introduction of mixed classes boarding on the same aircraft. The seat company Avio Interiors said the seats have a bike-like seat, would likely be implemented for shorter flights. The following video was filmed back in 2018 with Avio Interiors CEO Armando Di Vici. So let me go to Avio Interiors. These are sitting seats, but these also do look a lot like what is currently in Delta One cabins for Delta. The Allegra delivers an extraordinary and comfortable travel experience with remarkable personal living space, a fully horizontal bed, and easy aisle access to all passengers. And it shows the style of seat layouts for the Allegra. Very little, padding to them, which is always the main issue, I think, with a lot of new style of seats. Because when I look at something that's expensive, I'm like, I want that to be more comfortable. Apparently that's poor person thinking, because why would the more expensive option be more comfortable? No, it looks cooler. That's the important thing. The padding looks very minimal. There's a pillow there. It still looks minimal. When I go for like a more expensive seat on a flight, okay, it's usually a longer flight, okay, it's usually international. Like, for example, I did a Delta One for when I went to Japan last year because that was a 10-hour flight. And I have found that if I'm going to go different time zones, I need to be able to sleep. So I wanted to lay flat. That was expensive to do that, okay? But that's why I did that, was because comfort, okay? It's not just like better aisle access. I want to be able to sleep better, I want it to be more comfortable. Avio Interiors clearly is not talking about like the seat. Everything is just talking about the current seats that are available to market. The mock-up seats are obviously just that, mock-ups. Even their economy option for the, I think it's pronounced Mia. These look, one, uncomfortable because of the lack of padding, but like they are normal sitting seats. They're not standing, it looks like. So again, because of these tweets and because of posts and all of that, more people are talking about this. So we've got The Independent. Would you pay to stand on a flight? How vertical seats could be the future of budget air travel. Again, this would be probably one of the cheaper options, and again, shorter flights. There is safety hazards, even if you are on some type of bike seat. The majority of people cannot be standing on a flight for long periods of time, okay? And so there would have to be an element for, again, shorter flights, but also if you are not just young and able-bodied, or at least extremely used to standing for long periods of time, there's a lot of people that would not be able to use this. From an airline's perspective, this is not more money, okay, is really what I'm getting at, okay? I don't think they will do this because this will just harm them with customers. But then again, as I say that, I am reminded every time I say that every single airline in the last 5 years, seemingly, has done something beyond stupid that customers hate. And sometimes they roll it back. For example, there's a lot of changes to the Delta loyalty program, which is one of the reasons that I like Delta, is they reward loyalty. They did a lot of changes. I am a Diamond Medallion member. I could not get into that lounge. I could not get into the Delta lounge. Will not get me in there because I don't have the right credit card. I've spent thousands of dollars with them. Every time I walk up to an employee and they scan my stuff, they thank me for being a Diamond Medallion member. I cannot get into that lounge. That's funny to me. But there's other things that they have done, okay? And again, there is value in sticking with one airline, but the reason that these companies keep doing this, the problem is that air travel is public transportation. When you get on a plane, a commercial plane, okay, not private, but a commercial plane, you are engaging in public transit. It's what you are, okay? Whether you're in first class or in main cabin with the rest of us, okay? You are engaging in public transport. Congratulations. It's amazing. But mainly they know that most of us that need to get somewhere far away will opt for a plane for time, money, And also the fact that trains in North America suck. We would love for you to not suck. You're just really expensive and you don't go all over the place as much as we would like, okay? Especially having been to Japan. The infrastructure. Airlines know that we know that they know that we are low on options when it comes to travel, okay? And so they can eventually do whatever they want, okay? Because let's say, yes, Delta has pissed me off several times, okay? But it doesn't really make sense at this current point in the amount of travel that I do for me to just completely swap over to another airline when I've already built a good amount of loyalty with this airline, because even for all the faults, I still get a lot of perks with that loyalty. Does that make sense? And again, there's certain airlines that are just actively more stressful to deal with, even without the loyalty elements of it all, okay? And so they know that they can eventually do really whatever they want. We also have planes falling out of the sky, okay, which they're not actually falling out of the sky, but like we had a lot of plane crashes that were very heavily covered at the start of this year. And so everyone was talking about those, obviously. And so I turned down an opportunity to go somewhere because of that. I personally didn't take a flight, at least to the snow, okay? I am back to flying again. I've been fine, okay? But like now we're also seeing a lot of delays and also a lot of concerns with air traffic control where there's a bunch of stuff happening with Newark. Like people are very stressed about flying right now. So I don't know why any airline would take that risk to make this a more stressful experience, a more hostile experience when people are already concerned about getting on the flight. I have friends who have flown their whole lives that are not, I am not an anxious flyer. Most of my friends are not anxious flyers. Every time they get on a plane now, people are scared. That's concerning. That's not good. Okay, so I would hope that at the very least that would make people, the airline companies, be like, we should not involve in active like hostile architecture into our planes by implementing these seats. This is from The Independent, okay? This is from Amelia Neath. Would you pay to stand on a flight? How vertical seats could be the future of budget air travel. The idea of standing seats as a way of increasing passenger numbers was introduced in 2018, but never materialized. Could that be about to change? Budget airlines are constantly trying to find ways to keep their costs down, whether that's removing in-flight meals or charging extra for cabin bags. But now it seems they could go one step further by bringing in standing-only seats. A handful of European budget airlines are reportedly planning to remove some of their economy seats to swap them for standing seats, according to Euro Weekly News. Known as Skyrider 2.0, the new seat design, which is shaped like a saddle, is an improvement from the original that was first touted in 2018. The redesigned seats, which would see customers leaning at a 45-degree angle, have reportedly met safety requirements and regulations and could be in use in planes as soon as 2026. The silver lining is the ticket price is predicted to be very low, although prices haven't been shared yet. The compromise is not only having to stand, but also endure a much reduced amount of space. Currently, a traditional economy seat has what is known as a pitch of around 30 inches, referring to the amount of space for your legs. But with Skyrider 3.0, customers will have 23 inches of space. The original prototype, known as Skyrider, was designed by Italian company Avio Interiors, is more upright than a standard seat, allowing passengers to perch or lean rather than sit down completely. The seats would not work for long-haul flights, as passengers wouldn't be able to position themselves almost upright for hours on end, like we mentioned. Avio Interiors was not the first to come up with a stand-up seat idea, as back in 2003, plane manufacturer Airbus looked into creating a vertical seat but abandoned it shortly after. Michael O'Leary, CEO of low-cost airline Ryanair, has also previously floated the idea of standing seats on his aircrafts from as far back as 2010, likening them to bar stools with seatbelts. He even expressed doubts that seatbelts were needed on a flight, as he vouched for standing areas on planes that could be sold cheaply. A plane is just a bloody bus with wings, he said in 2012. If there ever was a crash of an aircraft, God forbid, a seatbelt won't save you. You don't need a seatbelt on the London Underground. You don't need a seatbelt on trains, which are traveling at 120 miles per hour. So this is the article on Euroweek News, low-cost airlines to launch standing-only seats in 2026 from Farah Makrani. And this is showing the same seats. God forbid you have a butt on one of these seats. Imagine. Just be so uncomfortable. In general. Like, I feel like if you've got big boobs, I'm not even kidding. Like, I feel like you'd be top heavy and like that might be uncomfortable, like for your back. You know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of at like an angle. Like this would be what? An hour flight max? Maybe. Again, they're saying they're being very vague about which airlines. I want one airline to be like, we are looking at this. Because in general, I just think this is, fictitious. Do you guys remember this mock-up? This was floated a while ago. Let me see, when's the year on this? Okay, this is from 2023. This is from Francesca Street. The double-decker airplane seat is back. Here's what it looks like. And these are double-decker seats. Now, everyone, when these were floated out, was like, hi, this is a horrible idea. One, again, We are seeing planes flip upside down, which, side note, you don't want me on a plane accident that I survive. I really don't think you want that. I do think I would be a menace. I don't think I would own the airline by the end of it, but you would be shocked how much I dragged it out. You'd be like, wow, Amanda's really getting as much as she can out of this. Yeah, I go through that type of trauma 100%. But like plane crashes, plane accidents, ideally, you want to live. And so I feel like this as a whole feels unsafe. But also this just feels like the plane would be too big. Like as if in theory. So it seems like a lot of this came from like clearly I need to go to an airplane show or something because these are crazy. Would you sit directly below another airplane passenger? It might not sound particularly appealing on paper, but 23-year-old plane seat designer Alejandro Nunez Vicente believes double-level seating is the future of economy flying. You may have seen a photo of Nunez Vicente's chaise lounge airplane seat prototype floating around the internet. Following a CNN travel exclusive last year, Nunez Vicente's concept went viral, igniting furious debate and prompting a flurry of reactions from would-be passengers. Some outraged, some bemused, some intrigued, some of all the above. Nunez Vicente's concept started small as a college project back in 2021. A nomination for the 2021 Crystal Cabin Awards, a top prize in the aviation industry, catapulted the concept into the public consciousness. Nunez Vicente paused his master's degree and put all his time, money, and efforts into making his vision a reality. Oh, I always hate hearing that. I'm sorry. I get it if this is your dream, but also I hate this idea. So I'm like, cause just in theory, I don't think this would be better for flying. Like you would think maybe, but also just looking at it from this concept angle for the photos that they are showing, it does look like these take up more room. The equivalent amount of room as about 4 rows as they normally would be for a plane, like at least based off this photo. One would-be passengers wince at the potential claustrophobia, and critics suggest a design is all about the airlines cramming more seats on planes. Nunez Vicente insists they've misunderstood his intentions. For one, he's not trying to eradicate regular airplane seating altogether. Nunez Vicente envisages an airplane cabin in which the chaise lounge is in the center, flanked by 2 rows of regular airplane seating. He's conscious the seat wouldn't be suitable or appealing for everyone, even if he thinks it would be more comfortable for some passengers. At 6 feet 2 inches, Nunez Vicente has spent many a cramped flight struggling for legroom and failing to sleep. He says he's designed the chaise lounge to solve the airplane problem seating conundrum, not make it worse. Still, the designer admits that for airlines, the appeal of the chaise lounge is the increased passenger headcount. I mean, in theory, I don't think this gives you more legroom though. Even if you're on the upper, like I'm looking at the mock-ups for what they showed for the concept art, and it doesn't look like it is more legroom. I mean, in theory, you would think because you've got more seating room, but they would still get as much space as they possibly could. Even if you were on the top row, you have even less legroom, it looks like, on the top row than you do on the bottom row, looking at it right here. Like from this view, the top row has less legroom. And again, like at least he acknowledges, like, I get why the airlines might like this, but this is why I made it. And like, that's kind of the issue. It's just one of those things where it's like, again, this is public transport, so like they're going to do what they want to do. But again, don't you want your customers to like you? Every time I think of that, I'm like, that seems like a no-brainer to me. But then I meet like someone in business, you know? I always approach things where it's like, don't you want your customers to like enjoy your product? Plane, food, t-shirt, shoelace, you know, don't you want them to enjoy it? Not just have to endure your project? You're the least worst of the bunch. Like, you don't want that, don't you? You want joy when people think of your brand. Wow, you know what? They really reward my loyalty. I love flying with them. They're so comfortable. They really took care of me when we were in a bind because of X, Y, and Z, you know? Don't you want that? I'm talking in hypotheticals here because even these, as far as these possibilities, I'll never forget when this first like hit Twitter, the main complaint I saw when people being like, so if you're on the bottom row, you just get to deal with this person's farts in your face. Yeah, not liking that, you know. I don't like the idea of me as a young woman maybe being sitting on the higher seat and then someone below me being weird and like trying to get a phone up front or something, you know, which could happen on any form of public transport, but we don't try and make it better and easier for them. You get my point? There's another photo here with the chaise lounge, and in theory, yes, the bottom seat would get more leg room because you straight up could extend your legs on the bottom, but on the top row, it's actively worse, it looks like. I'll link this article because I do think this is a good article and it's always interesting. We've had flight attendants strike. We've had pilots strike. We have air traffic control is the ongoing issue currently, where it seems where a lot of teams are not at full capacity. Air traffic controller is a very high stress job. And now we are seeing this out of Newark Airport, where I'm going to read this article because it's going to stress me out, but I'm going to include it. This is an article from CNN. This covers, multiple people. We got Blake Ellis, Melanie Hicken, Casey Tolan, and Audrey Ash. Black screens, silent radios, and near misses. Air traffic control outages are not isolated to Newark. Years before recent communication blackouts led to widespread chaos at Newark Liberty International Airport, air traffic controllers and pilots around the country repeatedly reported equipment failures that left them scrambling to avoid mid-air collisions and other catastrophes. In Tampa in 2023, one veteran air traffic controller described losing all contact with pilots as two planes, including a commercial passenger flight, narrowly missed each other after converging on a near collision course. In another incident, an Indiana-based air traffic controller said they couldn't talk with a plane trying to make an emergency landing after a door blew off, a failure that literally put someone's life in danger, according to the 2022 report. A CNN review found more than 40 reports of radar and radio problems at dozens of facilities nationwide that were filed to NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System since 2022, painting an alarming picture of an aging system that goes beyond Newark. The widespread nature of these outages is echoed by the Federal Aviation Administration's own warnings. Nearly every other day last year, the FAA published at least one air traffic advisory that mentioned a radar, radio, or frequency being out of service or facing issues, according to a CNN analysis of tens of thousands of public agents and daily airspace operations plans. The flying public should not have to think about when they get on an airplane whether the equipment is going to work, said Dave Riley, who worked as an air traffic controller for more than 30 years and said the reports identified by CNN were troubling. They were clearly issues of concern. They need to be looked at. Our system is outdated and showing its age, the FAA said in the statement. When equipment issues occur, the FAA will ensure safety by slowing down air traffic at an airport. The country's skies are overseen by more than 10,000 air traffic controllers, both in airport towers and in regional facilities, who monitor planes crossing their airspace and ensure smooth landings and takeoffs. Being able to talk to and see aircraft is the most crucial part of their jobs. But experts and controllers have long warned the patchwork of radios and radars connecting the networks needs urgent upgrades. See, that's the thing. It's like, I'm assuming that there are companies that are actively trying to make upgrades to these systems, but because this is technically is government systems, I'm assuming that's where the delay is coming in from. And so while they are doing that, the airlines are like, let's add more seats. Let's get more people on planes. Flying is already a stressful thing in general. I'm not a stressed out flyer, frankly. Even with this year, there are times where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to go in a plane. You know what I'm saying? Go. I don't feel like a plane is what's going to do me in. I do think it'll be something stupider than that. And so I don't typically feel unease going on a plane. For some reason, even turbulence, the most severe turbulence ever. I've experienced porpoising in planes and things like that before. Even with my anxiety, it never gets me because I'm like, what am I going to do in this situation? And it's almost like a factory reset where I'm like, I'm on a plane. I physically can't do anything really, And so my control freak anxiety doesn't takes a back seat. It's like, good luck. You can try. What are you going to do? Put the plane on the ground? You're not going to do that. What stresses me out is airports more than anything. And yet airports and airlines, obviously very tied together. Okay. So I feel like airports actively already a stressful experience. A lot of people are stressed out by flying, but flying is a necessary evil for, millions of people, okay? Not even just in America, across the world, which like we discussed, most of the standing seats that we discussed possibly, which again, we're not being given airlines, so I'm saying most as a stand-in word. We really don't know, okay? Ryanair made that joke a couple of years ago, but they obviously haven't done it. No one's actually done it yet, okay? It doesn't seem like orders have been placed. As soon as I see a thing saying orders placed now, then that's when I'll start sweating about having to stand up on a flight, okay? But for Europe, where a lot of things are a lot of countries are very close together, shorter flights can make more sense. It takes me an hour and a half to get to Colorado from here, okay? And that's not even that far away from a state from me, okay? Whereas in, Europe, I could be 3 whole countries away by that point. They likely will not be here. But again, as soon as if there's a proof of concept somewhere else and they realize, that didn't slow down costs or anything like that. And again, that's budget travel. So they're going to obviously keep the flights down. Here, I can see the lounge seats, the double-decker seats being implemented more likely because then they can potentially get more flights in, more seats in flights. But again, with the mock-ups that we were shown, I don't think it would allow for more seats to be fit on flights because it does look like it takes up the same amount of space for that same amount of rows as it currently stands. So if anything, it would be 2 inches, maybe, which I don't think in total, if you were to do it all, you would maybe get one more row, which which I don't think is worth the potential hassle and the potential people that are like, I'm never flying your airline again because someone farted in my face on your flight. Which unfortunately with the way that people have been acting, because for some reason people are deranged right now in general. I'm not even like talking on flights, but just in general, people have like lost sense. It feels like they could fart in your face right now. You know, I'm not even safe in my own apartment. It feels like that's how crazy people have been lately. Flying is stressful. It's a necessary evil. Let's not make it harder than it needs to be. Please hire more air traffic controllers. Please stop stretching these dudes so thin, okay? Also, let's update all of our systems. That's the main thing I want. Let's update systems. Yay! System update. Please do not replace things with AI. There's certain things that I need humans involved in, okay? I already have most things I want humans involved in, but still, like the answer is not AI, okay? Because AI can lie, okay? Please don't do that. More air traffic controllers, better systems. Thank you.
And while I was editing, apparently Thrifty Traveler figured out that Delta and other airlines are charging more for solo travelers. So screw me, I guess.
Have you seen these seats? Is there any crazy airline innovation that you've heard about that you're like, this is actually the worst thing and I can't believe you didn't cover it? What do you think of standing seats? What do you think of double-decker seats? What is your concern with standing seats or double-decker seats? Because I'm thinking mainly accessibility, and then also just like, this already sucks and now I have to deal with this too. I have to do the standing. That also is what I'm thinking of, okay? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to check out Girly Pop Go if you'd like to see more car and motorsports content. Shout out to my channel members. If you'd also join channel membership, you can go ahead and click join down below. If you'd like to follow me on all my social media, a little bit up here. And that's going to have a lovely day. Goodbye. That was a weird wink. I don't even know what that was. Was that a wink? I don't think so. I know I've said it already, but I keep coming back to the fact that, like, don't you want your customers to like your company? Like, to me, that seems like a no-brainer. And yet every day something comes out where I'm like, ugh, apparently I'm wrong.